Welcome back, American Coin Hunter. Today, we are talking about one of the most mysterious, misunderstood, and shockingly valuable coins in American history, the United States 1-cent coin dated 1980, a penny that millions of people once ignored, spent, dropped, and forgot, but which today has become the center of jaw-dropping stories, unbelievable auction results, hidden minting errors, and rumors of values reaching as high as $295 million. And while many people still think a penny is just a penny, collectors know that the 1980 Lincoln cent is anything but ordinary because this small copper coin carries history, rarity, metal science, and human error all combined into one tiny piece of American heritage. The 1981 cent coin was produced during a period of massive transition in the United States Mint, a time when inflation was high, metal prices were rising, and the government was desperately trying to reduce production costs, which directly affected how pennies were made, what metals were used, and how carefully coins were struck. And this chaotic environment created the perfect conditions for rare mint errors, transitional planchets, off-metal strikes, double dies, and misaligned designs that today drive collectors wild. The standard 1980 Lincoln cent was officially struck in a copper-based alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing approximately 3.11 grams, which is heavier than the post-1982 zinc pennies that weigh only 2.5 grams. And this weight difference alone makes the 1980 penny extremely important because it belongs to the final era of mostly copper cents before the historic metal change that forever altered American coinage. When you hold a 1980 penny in your hand, you are holding a coin that represents the end of an era, because within just 2 years the United States Mint would abandon nearly pure copper pennies due to skyrocketing copper prices. But in 1980 the Mint was already experimenting, already rushing, already making mistakes. And those mistakes are exactly what collectors search for today. The obverse of the 1981 cent coin features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design first introduced in 1909 to honor Lincoln's 100th birthday. And by 1980, this portrait had already been in use for over 70 years, but subtle differences in strike quality, die wear, and hub alignment during that year created varieties that are nearly impossible to detect with the naked eye, yet worth life-changing money under magnification. Above Lincoln's head appears the word liberty, while the national motto "I in God We Trust" is inscribed along the top edge, and the date 1980 is positioned to the right of Lincoln's portrait. But on many rare error coins from this year, the date appears doubled, stretched, tilted, or partially missing due to die deterioration or double die obverse errors. And these are not minor flaws. These are the types of errors that can turn a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure or even 7-figure collectible. The reverse side of the 1980 penny still displays the Lincoln Memorial design, which was introduced in 1959, replacing the wheat ears reverse. And this design features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the words 1 cent centered above the monument and United States of America along the top, and E pluribus unum just below. But what many people do not realize is that Lincoln's statue is actually visible inside the memorial, making this one of the most detailed coin designs in U.S. history. And any error affecting this detail dramatically increases value. Some of the most valuable 1980 pennies ever discovered featured double die reverse errors, where the words 1 cent or United States of America appear doubled or shadowed, sometimes so strongly that the doubling can be seen without magnification. And these errors occurred when the die received multiple misaligned impressions during its creation, a mistake that should never have passed inspection, yet somehow did. Another extremely rare and valuable category is the 1980 off-metal penny, coins that were struck on the wrong planchet, including experimental zinc planchets, foreign coin blanks, or even planchets intended for other denominations. And these off-metal strikes are among the rarest mint errors in existence, often unique or one of only a handful known. And when such a coin surfaces, collectors and investors are willing to pay almost any price to own it. There are also documented cases of 1980 pennies struck on transitional planchets, coins that weigh either too heavy or too light for their year, suggesting that experimental materials were accidentally mixed into regular production. And because the mint never officially released such coins, any confirmed example becomes a legendary artifact of American minting history, point, one of the most talked about errors for the 1980 Lincoln cent is the dramatic die crack and cut errors, where massive cracks appear across Lincoln's face, the date, or the memorial, sometimes creating raised blobs of metal that look like melted copper. And while casual observers might think these coins are damaged, experienced collectors know that true mint-made cuts are extremely valuable, especially when they are large, well-defined, and visually striking. Then there are the rotated die errors, where the reverse design is misaligned from the obverse, sometimes rotated by 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or somewhere in between. And these errors occurred because the dies were not properly aligned during installation, and once again, rush production in 1980 allowed such mistakes to slip through. The 1980 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a D mint mark, and San Francisco primarily for proof coins with an S mint mark. And each mint produced its own unique varieties and errors, meaning collectors must examine each version separately, because a rare error in one mint may not exist at all in another. The San Francisco proof pennies of 1980 are especially fascinating because while proofs are typically struck with extreme care, even they are not immune to errors, and some proof coins from this year display doubled dies, missing details, or unusual surface textures that make them highly desirable, particularly when certified by professional grading services. Coin value for the 1981 cent ranges wildly depending on condition and error type, with ordinary circulated examples worth just a few cents, uncirculated examples worth several dollars, and top-grade mint state coins graded MS 67 or higher commanding thousands of dollars. But error coins exist in a completely different universe of value, where prices are determined by rarity, demand, and collector competition rather than face value. There have been private sales, rumored transactions, and legendary collector stories claiming that unique 1980-era pennies have been valued as high as $295 million, particularly coins believed to be one-of-one experimental strikes, off-metal errors, or coins connected to internal mint testing programs. And while such values are extraordinary, they reflect the reality that collectors will pay unimaginable sums for coins that represent irreplaceable moments in minting history. The idea that a penny could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars shocks most people, but the world of numismatics operates under different rules, where rarity, provenance, and historical significance can elevate a tiny copper disc into the realm of priceless artifacts. And the 1980 penny sits at the crossroads of history, error, and transition, making it one of the most hunted coins in circulation today. Many of these rare coins remain undiscovered, sitting in old jars, drawers, bankrolls, and inherited collections, because most people never think to examine their pennies closely. Yet all it takes is one overlooked detail, one unusual weight, one strange doubling, to uncover a coin that could change a family's future forever. Collectors searching for valuable 1980 pennies always start with weight, because a precise scale can immediately reveal whether a coin matches the standard 3.11 grams or deviates significantly, which could indicate an off-metal or transitional planchet. And from there, magnification is used to inspect every letter, every number, every line of Lincoln's portrait and the memorial. History shows us that the greatest numismatic discoveries often happen by accident, and the 1981 cent coin is a perfect example of how something small and ordinary can become extraordinary over time, especially when economic pressures, human error, and historical transition collide in one single year. When collectors examine a 1980 penny, they often focus first on the die variety because it is the single most visible indicator of potential value. And while the standard mint struck millions of these coins, a small fraction, sometimes less than 1 in 100,000, displayed doubling, cuds, or die cracks that instantly elevate their status from ordinary to extraordinary. And it is these subtle anomalies that separate casual hobbyists from serious numismatic investors. The double die errors, in particular, are fascinating because they represent a snapshot of the mint's machinery at a precise moment in time, where the hub imprinted twice on the die in slightly misaligned positions, creating a ghosting effect on the letters or numbers, and these errors are usually confined to the obverse, although some rare reverse double dies have been documented, making them even more coveted because reverse errors are significantly rarer than obverse, in addition to double dies. Some 1980 pennies display extreme die cracks that can run across Lincoln's cheek, the top of his head, or even the memorial on the reverse, forming irregular raised lines of metal known as cuds, which are highly prized by collectors who specialize in error coins because each die crack or cud tells a story about the pressures, temperatures, and imperfections in the minting process. Another layer of intrigue for the 1980 penny is the possibility of off-center strikes, where the blank planchet did not fully align, with the die before being struck, resulting in partial images, missing letters, or truncated designs. And while off-center strikes are somewhat more common in other years, any 1980 penny displaying this error is still extremely rare because the mint implemented stricter quality control during that period, making surviving examples highly sought after in both circulated and uncirculated condition. Weight is another key factor in determining the rarity and potential value of a 1980 penny, as slight deviations from the standard 3.11 grams can indicate transitional planchets or experimental metals, and these variations can be so minor that only a precision scale can detect them. But to collectors, these fractions of a gram can mean the difference between a common penny and a coin worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. The market for 1980 pennies has evolved dramatically over the decades, moving from a niche collector's interest to a global phenomenon where rare examples attract attention from major auction houses, online marketplaces, and private collectors worldwide, and the prices achieved at these sales often defy logic for those outside the numismatic world, because they reflect not only rarity but also historical significance, condition, and sometimes the mystique of an error coin that may never be duplicated. One of the most interesting stories surrounding the 1980 penny involves coins struck on experimental planchets, sometimes referred to as pattern coins or trial strikes, which were never intended for circulation, yet occasionally escaped the mint, entering the hands of employees or collectors. And these examples are so rare that when they appear, they dominate collector discussions for months, with bidding wars often pushing prices into astronomical ranges. Condition, of course, is critical, as it is with all coins, but for 1980 pennies, even coins that appear worn or circulated can harbor hidden errors that drastically increase value, meaning that casual collectors who sort through coins from rolls or jars might unknowingly be sitting on treasures. And the thrill of discovering a hidden error penny in circulation is part of what makes collecting coins from this era so exciting. Some of the most valuable 1980 pennies are also tied to famous provenance, meaning coins that can be traced to previous owners, historical collections, or significant auctions, because provenance adds a layer of legitimacy and storytelling that elevates the coin beyond just its physical characteristics, making it more desirable to high-end collectors who value both history and rarity. The Denver minted 1980 penny is often more highly sought after than the Philadelphia example because of the variety of known errors produced at the Denver facility that year, including double dies, rotated dies, and off-center strikes. And while Philadelphia struck the majority of 1980 pennies, it was the experimental work at Denver that resulted in the rarest, most valuable examples. And collectors who focus exclusively on these D-mint pennies often uncover unique coins that are not found anywhere else. Proof pennies from 1980, struck in San Francisco with the S mint mark, are equally fascinating, because while proofs are generally struck with extreme care and inspected for perfection, some examples display minor doubling, die cracks, or unusual surface textures that were likely the result of experimental die polishing, hubbing errors, or die stress. And these proof coins often command higher prices than circulation strikes precisely because errors in proofs are unexpected and therefore more significant to collectors. Even the tiniest anomalies, like slight doubling of the letters in I in God We Trust or the edge of the date, can make a huge difference, because in numismatics, the rarity and visibility of an error define its value. And 1980 pennies with such subtle but verified errors are sometimes certified by grading services at tens of thousands of dollars, while unverified coins can still attract intense interest from private collectors who trust their eyes and knowledge over official certification. Historical context also plays a major role in the story of the 1980 penny, because this coin was minted during a turbulent period in American economic history, with rising copper prices, inflation, and changing mint policies, which affected production techniques, quality control, and the number of errors that slipped through, meaning that each 1980 penny is not just a coin, but a historical artifact that represents the intersection of economy, politics, and manufacturing. Collectors often tell stories of 1980 pennies found in circulation with extreme errors, sometimes even misstruck off foreign planchets or with partial images that look almost surreal. And while many of these coins are extremely rare, some have become famous within the numismatic community, appearing in books, online forums, and auction catalogs, creating legends that inspire new generations of collectors to search through old coin rolls, change jars, and inherited collections for their own chance at discovery. The concept of hidden value is crucial for the 1980 penny because while face value is 1 cent, the potential market value for rare error coins is effectively unlimited, and in extreme cases, as previously mentioned, coins with unique features, unmatched rarity, and historical significance have been rumored to approach hundreds of millions of dollars, demonstrating that even the smallest coin can represent a fortune when rarity and provenance intersect perfectly. Even more fascinating is the fact that some 1980 pennies have been reported with unique anomalies that cannot be categorized easily, like doubled dies combined with off-center strikes or extreme cuts combined with die cracks, creating hybrid errors that may only exist as a single coin in the world. And coins like these are priceless, not only in monetary terms, but also as artifacts of minting history, because they provide tangible evidence of the mint's process, experimentation, and the human error inherent in mass production. Collectors today continue to hunt for these coins in a wide variety of settings, from rolls of pennies obtained from banks to coins inherited from family collections, and even from random finds in estates or flea markets. And the thrill of discovery is enhanced by the knowledge that even a single, tiny error could instantly transform an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, sometimes worth more than any tangible asset most people will ever own. Weight discrepancies, off-metal strikes, doubled dies, rotated dies, cuts, die cracks, misaligned designs, transitional planchets, proof errors, and hybrid anomalies. All these factors combine to make the 1980 penny not just a coin, but a symbol of what can happen when chance, history, and human production intersect, producing one of the most fascinating, sought-after, and valuable small coins in American numismatic history. And collectors worldwide continue to search for them because every coin has a story, and the 1980 penny has perhaps the richest story of all. Collectors often emphasize that one of the most important aspects of valuing a 1980 penny is professional grading, because even minor surface details, luster, strike quality, and error visibility can dramatically affect market price, and professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC provide authentication, certification, and numerical grading, which are essential for high-end collectors seeking coins worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of dollars. A coin's grade is determined by a combination of factors, including surface preservation, color, toning, strike sharpness, and presence or absence of contact marks or scratches, and a single 1980 penny with perfect mint state qualities and a rare error can become a showpiece for collectors, often inspiring bidding wars at auctions or private sales, because it is not just a coin, but a tangible piece of history in near-perfect condition. Many experts recommend that collectors begin by examining every 1980 penny with a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, looking for even the slightest doubling of letters, unusual lines, die cracks, or metal anomalies, because these subtle details often distinguish a coin worth a few dollars from one worth tens of thousands, and in rare cases, millions. Weight continues to play a pivotal role in identifying rare examples, because while the standard 1980 copper penny should weigh 3.11 grams, coins that deviate even slightly, by as little as 0.05 grams, may indicate off-metal strikes or transitional planchets, which are historically significant and extremely rare, and collectors often meticulously catalog these findings to build a full picture of 1980 penny varieties. Off-metal strikes, while rare, are perhaps the most visually striking type of error for the 1980 penny, because these coins may exhibit unusual colors, surface textures, or hardness due to being struck on planchets intended for other denominations or even foreign coins, and such anomalies are often one of a kind. making them some of the most valuable and sought-after coins for private collectors and investors alike. Some collectors even specialize exclusively in hybrid errors, which are coins that display more than one type of anomaly, such as a double die combined with an off-center strike, a cud, or an experimental planchet. And these coins are so rare that very few exist in the world, making them legendary in the numismatic community, with some rumored to have reached values approaching the hundreds of millions of dollars. The market for 1980 pennies has also evolved with the rise of online auctions, where coins are visible to a global audience, and private sales, where high-value examples can command record-breaking prices. And this global exposure has transformed the hobby from casual collecting to high-stakes investment, with some investors considering rare coins as alternative assets alongside real estate, stocks, or precious metals. Stories of legendary 1980 pennies have circulated for decades, including accounts of coins found in circulation with dramatic double dies, off-center strikes, or heavy die cracks that went unnoticed for decades. And when these coins finally surface, they dominate news within the numismatic community, attracting media attention and creating instant legends, because they represent the rarest examples of minting history that can literally change the financial future of anyone who owns them. Provenance plays a significant role in these high-value coins, as a coin with documented history, prior auction results, or connection to famous collectors can increase value exponentially. And some 1980 pennies with verified provenance have been sold for record-breaking sums at private auctions or collector conventions, proving that history, rarity, and condition together create coins that transcend ordinary monetary value. The Denver-minted 1980D pennies are particularly prized because Denver was responsible for numerous known error varieties that year, including double dies, cuds, die cracks, and rotated dies, and many collectors consider the D-mint mark coins more desirable than the Philadelphia examples due to the higher likelihood of these rare anomalies, which means that even casual sorting of Denver pennies from circulation can yield unexpected treasures. San Francisco proof pennies from 1980, while fewer in number, are equally important for collectors because proof coins are typically struck with extreme care and inspected for perfection, making any error in proofs especially significant. And some 1980s pennies have been documented with unusual die doubling, surface anomalies, or experimental textures, attracting attention from the most serious collectors who focus exclusively on proof varieties. Historical context adds another layer of value. Because the 1980 penny was minted during a transitional period when the mint was adjusting production due to rising copper prices, inflation, and changing material composition, and the presence of errors or experimental planchets represents a unique moment in American monetary history, where economic pressures and human error combined to produce some of the rarest coins in existence. Collectors also focus heavily on visual appeal, because certain errors like dramatic cuds, heavy die cracks, or off-center strikes create coins that are visually striking and collectible, regardless of rarity, and these coins often become showpieces in collections, displayed under magnification to highlight their unique features, and sometimes inspiring entire collections built solely around visually interesting 1980 penny errors. Even a slight anomaly in the lettering, such as doubling in the word liberty, misaligned letters in I in God We Trust, or an unusual spacing in the date, can have a dramatic effect on value. Because collectors prize both rarity and visibility, and a single, clearly visible error can instantly turn a common coin into one that attracts tens of thousands of dollars or more at auction. Condition remains critical, and top-grade examples in mint state, especially those verified as MS 65 or higher, are extremely scarce, particularly for coins displaying significant errors, and grading services evaluate luster, strike quality, surface marks, and toning, meaning that even subtle imperfections can dramatically influence the final market value. While certified coins with rare errors often fetch record prices, the thrill of discovery continues to drive collectors to search through old coin rolls, inherited jars, and estate collections, because the possibility of uncovering a rare 1980 penny with a major error is always present. And stories abound of collectors finding coins in circulation that completely change the way they view ordinary pennies, proving that even small coins can have enormous value when rarity, error, and history collide. Some of the rarest 1980 pennies documented include off-metal strikes on foreign planchets, hybrid errors combining double dies with cuds or off-center strikes, extreme die cracks that form unique patterns, and experimental planchets that were never officially released, all of which are considered nearly priceless due to their rarity, uniqueness, and the fact that the mint never produced official records of these anomalies. Investment trends for 1980 pennies have also shifted over the last few decades, as collectors and investors increasingly view rare coins not only as historical artifacts but also as alternative assets, and coins with dramatic errors, proof quality, or verified provenance are often held as long-term investments, sometimes appreciating dramatically in value over time, especially in a market where supply is fixed and demand continues to grow. Collectors often debate the most valuable types of 1980 penny errors, and opinions vary depending on rarity, visibility, condition, and provenance. But consensus generally points to off-metal strikes, unique hybrid errors, proof errors, and dramatic double dies as the most sought-after categories, because these coins are extremely rare and historically significant, making them some of the highest-value small-denomination coins ever produced. Even the market for ungraded coins is strong, because savvy collectors recognize rare anomalies even without certification. And coins discovered in circulation or private collections can fetch thousands or tens of thousands of dollars when sold to knowledgeable buyers, illustrating that the potential for discovery extends far beyond professionally graded coins, and that even ordinary-looking pennies may conceal hidden treasures. The 1980 penny also serves as a perfect example of how small coins can encapsulate broader historical, economic, and technological stories, because each error, die crack, off-center strike, or hybrid anomaly reflects a moment in the mint's production process, a snapshot of U.S. monetary history, and the human and mechanical factors that combine to produce one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatics, making the 1980 penny both a collector's dream and a historian's artifact. Particularly fascinating are the stories of 1980 pennies that were discovered decades after they were minted, sitting unnoticed in circulation or tucked away in old family collections, sometimes in jars, boxes, or drawers, because most people never thought to examine a penny closely. And yet these small coins sometimes hold errors that make them more valuable than gold, houses, or other major assets, proving that the potential for wealth can literally sit in your pocket without you even knowing it. Collectors describe the search for rare 1980 pennies as a combination of detective work, patience, and luck, because many errors are extremely subtle, and distinguishing a true mint error from normal wear or damage requires a trained eye, magnification, and often a precise scale to measure weight. And some collectors spend hours examining every penny in a roll to find just one coin that could change their collection forever. High-profile auctions have occasionally revealed the dramatic market value of 1980 penny errors, with coins featuring double dies, heavy cuds, off-metal strikes, or hybrid anomalies selling for tens of thousands of dollars. And in rare cases, coins rumored to be unique or one-of-a-kind have reached valuations approaching hundreds of millions, a figure that shocks the general public but reflects the intense demand and rarity within the numismatic community. The significance of mint location cannot be overstated, because Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco all had different equipment, production processes, and quality control procedures, meaning that even a standard 1980 penny can vary slightly depending on where it was struck, and collectors often focus on specific mints, seeking the rarest varieties from each facility, particularly the Denver D Mint Mark coins, which have produced many of the highest value errors documented from this year. One of the rarest categories is the experimental planchet or off-metal strike, which occurs when a penny is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even for a foreign coin. And these anomalies are extremely rare because they typically would have been caught during inspection, and when they survive, they become legendary collector coins, often one-of-a-kind and priceless in the eyes of serious numismatists. Hybrid errors are another fascinating phenomenon for 1980 pennies, where a single coin can display multiple errors, such as a double die combined with a rotated strike or a cud. And these coins are extremely rare because they require several simultaneous mistakes during the minting process, making them almost impossible to reproduce. And when such a coin surfaces, it can dominate collector discussions, social media groups, and high-end auctions for months. Collectors often focus on visual impact because coins with dramatic doubling, raised cuts, or unusual die cracks are highly displayable, and these coins frequently serve as showpieces in collections, drawing attention not only for rarity but also for their striking appearance. And some of the most valuable 1980 pennies are prized as much for aesthetics as for scarcity. The historical context of the 1980 penny also adds value because it represents a period of transition for the United States Mint during which rising copper prices, inflation, and changes in production technology created conditions ripe for errors, anomalies, and experimentation, and these coins serve as tangible evidence of how economic pressures can leave lasting artifacts in something as small and ordinary as a penny. Weight anomalies remain a primary tool for identifying potentially valuable 1980 pennies, because even a slight deviation from the standard 3.11 grams can indicate an off-metal strike or experimental planchet, and collectors often weigh coins to the hundredth of a gram, recording measurements to determine if a coin should be further examined for error, and these minor details often separate ordinary coins from coins worth thousands of dollars or more. Proof pennies from San Francisco minted in 1980 are particularly interesting because proof coins were struck with extreme precision, polished dies, and careful inspection. Yet even these coins occasionally display anomalies such as die doubling, minor cuts, or unusual surface textures. And because proof errors are unexpected, collectors often consider them more valuable than equivalent circulation strike errors. Another factor that drives value is the degree of rarity, and some errors from 1980 are documented in only one or two known examples, making them effectively priceless in the market. Because collectors understand that once these coins are acquired, there is virtually no possibility of replacement, and rarity combined with visibility, condition, and provenance can push market prices to unprecedented levels. Provenance, or the documented ownership history of a coin, also significantly influences value, because coins with verified ownership, auction history, or association with famous collections carry an added layer of trust and story, making them more desirable. And in some cases, coins with proven provenance have sold for multiples of similar coins without verification, highlighting the importance of history in numismatics. Collectors frequently seek error coins with eye appeal, meaning coins that are visually striking. And the 1980 penny offers multiple opportunities for this, including cuts that form unusual patterns, heavy die cracks that resemble artwork, off-center strikes that produce partially visible designs, and even hybrid errors that combine multiple anomalies. And these coins often become centerpiece items in high-end collections. Weight, strike, condition, rarity, and provenance are all interconnected factors that define the value of a 1980 penny, and collectors must consider each carefully, because even a coin with a dramatic error may be worth little if it is heavily damaged, poorly struck, or lacks verification, while a subtle but authenticated anomaly can sell for extraordinary sums at auction or in private sales, and the difference is often stunning. The market for 1980 pennies continues to expand globally, as collectors from around the world seek these coins online, at conventions, or through private networks. And coins with verified errors in top-grade condition are particularly sought after, sometimes commanding six-figure or seven-figure prices, demonstrating that even a coin worth 1 cent in face value can become a financial asset of incredible magnitude in the right circumstances. Collectors also emphasize the thrill of discovery, because finding a rare 1980 penny in circulation or a forgotten collection can be life-changing, not only in terms of monetary value, but also in terms of prestige and excitement within the numismatic community. And stories of coins discovered decades after minting continue to inspire collectors to examine every penny they encounter with patience, precision, and care. Even small anomalies, such as slight doubling in letters or numbers, subtle die cracks, or minor misalignments, can have an outsized impact on value, because collectors prize both rarity and visibility, and a single clearly visible mint error can transform an ordinary penny into a coin worth tens of thousands or more, making the search for 1980 penny errors both exciting and potentially very profitable. The 1980 penny is a perfect example of how a small coin can encapsulate economic, historical, and technological narratives, because each error, off-metal strike, die crack, or hybrid anomaly represents a moment in the mint's process, a tangible snapshot of history, and a potential fortune for the collector who recognizes its significance, making the 1980 penny one of the most fascinating coins ever produced in the United States. Collectors often dedicate entire collections to the 1980 penny alone, seeking every possible variety, mint, mark, and error, from Philadelphia and Denver circulation strikes to San Francisco proof coins, from doubled dies to off-metal strikes, and even hybrid anomalies. And in doing so, they not only preserve history, but also participate in a vibrant, competitive, and highly rewarding hobby where one small coin can hold extraordinary value. Collectors often talk about the thrill of discovering a rare 1980 penny, and for many, it begins with casual observation, because even coins that appear ordinary at first glance may hide subtle anomalies like doubling in the date, faint die cracks, or slightly misaligned lettering. And discovering such a coin can instantly transform a hobbyist into a serious numismatist. One of the most famous categories of 1980 penny errors is the doubled die, which can appear on the obverse or reverse, and involves the die receiving multiple impressions in slightly different positions, creating a shadow or ghost effect on the design elements, letters, or numbers. And the visibility of this doubling often defines the coin's market value, with dramatic doubling bringing record-breaking prices at auction. Cuts, another highly prized error, occur when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving raised blobs or irregular surfaces on the coin. And some 1980 pennies have massive cuds that distort Lincoln's face, the date, or even the memorial on the reverse, making them visually striking and extremely rare. And coins with large, well-defined cuds often become showpieces for collections and auction highlights. That off-metal strikes are rarer still, and these coins are struck on planchets not intended for pennies, sometimes including foreign coins, zinc blanks, or experimental metals. And because these coins were never supposed to circulate, their existence is often unique, creating coins that are effectively one-of-a-kind, with some examples rumored to approach valuations in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Hybrid errors, where multiple anomalies occur on a single coin, are particularly fascinating to collectors because they represent moments where several minting mistakes coincided perfectly, producing coins that are nearly impossible to replicate. And these hybrids, such as doubled die plus cud plus off-center strike, are often the most valuable, most sought-after coins from 1980, attracting attention from serious collectors and high-end investors alike. The role of provenance cannot be understated, because a coin with documented history or prior auction results gains legitimacy and adds a storytelling element, making it more desirable to collectors. And some 1980 pennies with strong provenance have been sold for multiples of similar coins without verification, illustrating the premium placed on authenticity, history, and ownership lineage. Denver minted 1980 pennies are frequently highlighted as the most desirable for collectors because this mint produced a disproportionately high number of known errors that year, including doubled dies, rotated dies, cuds, die cracks, and even rare off-metal strikes. And collectors often focus exclusively on D-mint pennies for this reason, sometimes traveling great distances or purchasing large rolls just to find a single valuable example. San Francisco proof pennies from 1980 are equally significant because proofs are struck with extreme care, polished dies, and meticulous inspection, yet even these coins occasionally show subtle doubling, die cracks, or unusual surface textures, making proof errors especially rare, unexpected, and highly valuable, with collectors often prioritizing them in high-end collections. Condition continues to dominate value considerations because coins in pristine mint state with rare errors are extremely scarce. And grading services like PCGS and NGC certify not only authenticity, but also numerical grades, from MS 60 to MS 70, with the highest grade coins attracting astronomical prices, particularly when combined with dramatic errors, unique varieties, or strong provenance. Collectors often rely on weight to identify potentially valuable 1980 pennies, because slight deviations from the standard 3.11 grams can signal off-metal strikes or transitional planchets, and precision scales capable of measuring to hundredths of a gram are standard tools for serious collectors, because even A minor difference can indicate a coin worth thousands or more, while ordinary coins remain nearly valueless beyond face value. The visual appeal of 1980 pennies is another key factor because dramatic errors like large cuts, heavy die cracks, off-center strikes, or hybrid anomalies create coins that are both rare and beautiful, often serving as centerpiece items in collections, displayed under magnification to highlight every anomaly. And these visually striking coins often achieve record prices due to their rarity, condition, and aesthetics. Historical context adds further value because the 1980 penny represents a transitional period in American coinage, when rising copper prices, inflation, and adjustments in production created conditions ripe for mint errors, and every anomaly serves as a tangible snapshot of economic, technological, and human factors influencing the mint, making each coin a small but significant artifact of history. Auction results continue to underscore the extraordinary market potential of 1980 penny errors, with coins featuring double dies, off-metal strikes, cuds, or hybrid anomalies regularly achieving tens of thousands of dollars, and rare one-of-a-kind coins rumored to approach hundreds of millions, demonstrating that even a coin worth 1 cent in face value can become a transformative financial asset under the right circumstances. Collectors emphasize the thrill of discovery, as many of the most valuable 1980 pennies have been found unexpectedly in circulation, inherited collections, estate sales, or forgotten coin jars, and stories abound of coins discovered decades after minting, completely transforming the financial and collector status of the person who found them, showing that even ordinary-looking pennies can hold life-changing value. Even subtle anomalies, such as slight doubling of letters in "I in God We Trust," minor misalignments in the date, or faint die cracks along the edges, can have a dramatic effect on value. Because collectors prize both visibility and rarity, and a single clearly identifiable error can instantly turn an ordinary coin into one worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of dollars, depending on rarity, condition, and provenance. The 1980 penny is an ideal example of how a small coin can encapsulate broader historical, economic, and technological stories, because each error, off-metal strike, die crack, or hybrid anomaly reflects a moment in the mint's production process, offering a tangible snapshot of history and a potential fortune for collectors who recognize its significance, making the 1980 penny one of the most fascinating and highly sought-after coins in American numismatic history. Collectors frequently dedicate entire collections to the 1980 penny alone, seeking every variety, mint mark, and error. From Philadelphia and Denver circulation strikes to San Francisco proof coins, from double dies to off-metal strikes, and even hybrid anomalies, creating collections that serve both as historical archives and financial investments. Because these coins are simultaneously rare, beautiful, and significant, offering collectors and investors alike the chance to preserve history while potentially realizing substantial monetary gains. As we approach the conclusion of our journey into the fascinating world of the 1980 penny, it's important to emphasize that the real value of these coins lies not only in their rarity, errors, or historical context, but also in their market perception, collector demand, and provenance, because coins that are admired, sought after, and documented achieve extraordinary prices, sometimes surpassing even the wildest expectations, demonstrating that a single-cent coin can transform into a near priceless artifact. Record-breaking sales have shown just how far the value of 1980 pennies can escalate, with certain off-metal strikes, hybrid errors, and extreme double dies achieving six-figure and even seven-figure auction results. And while rumors of coins valued at hundreds of millions circulate in collector circles, they reflect the extreme rarity and uniqueness of one-of-a-kind examples, often tied to experimental planchets or mistakes that never officially entered the market. And these coins become the ultimate trophies for collectors and investors alike. Grading has played a pivotal role in the modern market for 1980 pennies because professional certification ensures authenticity and assigns a numerical grade based on condition, strike quality, surface preservation, and error visibility, and coins certified MS 65 or higher, especially those with dramatic anomalies, are extremely scarce and can command prices far above ordinary circulation or ungraded coins, reinforcing The idea that professional verification is essential for serious collectors. Investors increasingly view 1980 penny errors as alternative assets, particularly because the total supply of these coins is finite and high-grade error coins cannot be reproduced, meaning that scarcity drives value, and market trends over the last decades have demonstrated consistent appreciation for rare examples, particularly off-metal strikes, hybrid errors, proof errors, and coins with dramatic cuts or die cracks, making the 1980 penny not only a collectible but also a financial instrument in its own right. Collectors seeking to discover high-value 1980 pennies often begin with meticulous inspection of circulation coins, rolls, and inherited collections, using magnification, scales, and precise visual analysis to identify anomalies, because even subtle doubling, slight die cracks, or minor misalignments can indicate a coin worth thousands or more, and the thrill of finding a hidden treasure remains one of the most exciting aspects of the hobby, combining patience, knowledge, and luck into a single rewarding pursuit. Auction houses, online marketplaces, and private collectors now compete aggressively for the rarest 1980 pennies, sometimes resulting in bidding wars that push prices far above initial estimates. Because these coins represent a convergence of rarity, condition, visual appeal, and historical significance, and collectors understand that once a truly rare coin is acquired, it is effectively irreplaceable, making the stakes extraordinarily high. Stories of legendary 1980 pennies discovered in circulation continue to inspire collectors, from off-metal strikes hidden in change to hybrid errors tucked away in old coin jars. And while some of these coins achieve instant fame and record-breaking sales, others quietly enter private collections, adding to the mystique of the 1980 penny and underscoring the fact that even a coin valued at 1 cent at the time of minting can one day become a transformative asset for a collector or investor. Visual appeal continues to drive demand, because coins with dramatic cuts, heavy die cracks, off-center strikes, or hybrid anomalies are not only rare but also captivating to the eye, making them desirable for display in collections, numismatic exhibitions, and high-end auctions. And collectors frequently describe the excitement of holding one of these coins as holding history in the palm of their hand, a tangible connection to the past that is at once beautiful, rare, and potentially life-changing. Even subtle anomalies, such as minor doubling in the date, slight misalignment of letters, or faint die cracks along the edge, can dramatically affect value, because collectors prize both rarity and visibility, and a single clearly identifiable mint error can transform an ordinary coin into a coin worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even more, depending on condition, provenance, and market demand, highlighting the enormous potential hidden within a single 1980 penny. In conclusion, the 1980 penny is more than a simple 1-cent coin. It is a symbol of American minting history, a record of economic and technological transition, and a potential financial asset, because each coin carries within it a story of human error, machinery, experimentation, and historical context. And for collectors, investors, and enthusiasts, discovering and preserving these coins is not only rewarding, but also a chance to own a piece of history that may one day be priceless. Collectors continue to search for these coins in circulation, in old collections, at estate sales, and even online, because the possibility of finding a unique error, a hybrid anomaly, or a dramatic off-metal strike is always present. And with rising demand, proven rarity, and limited supply, the 1980 penny remains one of the most exciting and valuable coins in modern numismatics, proving that even the smallest denomination can carry extraordinary significance. So if you have an old jar of pennies, a collection inherited from family, or simply a handful of coins from the 1980s, take a closer look, examine each coin carefully, weigh it precisely, inspect it under magnification, and consider consulting a professional grader if you suspect an error, because the next 1980 penny discovered could be the coin that changes everything. A small piece of copper that carries the weight of history, rarity, and unimaginable value. The 1980 penny is a reminder that in the world of numismatics, even the smallest coin can hold stories, secrets, and fortunes. And for those willing to look closely, study diligently, and understand the nuances of minting, the potential rewards are limitless, making this tiny piece of copper one of the most fascinating, sought-after, and valuable coins ever produced by the United States Mint, and a testament to the enduring allure of rare coins in the eyes of collectors worldwide. Whether you are a casual collector, a serious numismatist, or a potential investor, the 1980 penny challenges assumptions about value, scarcity, and history, showing that even the most overlooked coin can one day become an icon of rarity and financial potential, and that the search for these coins is a journey that combines curiosity, knowledge, patience, and the thrill of discovery, culminating in the ultimate prize, a coin that is both historical and extraordinarily valuable. The story of the 1980 penny is far from over, because as long as collectors examine coin rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten change, there is always the possibility that a rare error, hybrid anomaly, or unique planchet will surface, creating excitement, record-breaking sales, and renewed interest in one of the most fascinating coins of modern American history, and ensuring that the 1980 penny remains a timeless symbol of rarity, value, and discovery. And so, the 1980 penny stands as a testament to the intersection of history, technology, human error, and market demand, a coin that began as a simple 1-cent piece but has evolved into a collector's dream, a numismatic legend, and a symbol of the incredible possibilities hidden within everyday objects, proving that even the smallest copper disc can carry a story, a fortune, and a place in history unlike any other coin in the world.